Hello and welcome to News in Depth here on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. Oil prices have dropped back to around $90 a barrel after Donald Trump suggested the war with Iran could end soon. Yet the conflict still threatens global energy routes, food supply chains and sanctions policy at the same time. Thousands of foreigners continue evacuating the region. Well, to discuss all of these topics, we're joined by Michał Broniatowski, Chief Europe Editor at TVP World. Martin, great to have you back. Thank you for taking time. So we'll kick off with a soundbite, as usual, and I'll get your view on it.
Sure.
Continue Operation Epic Fury. We're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world. And I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. We're also waiving certain oil-related sanctions to reduce prices. So we have sanctions on some countries. We're going to take those sanctions off till this straightens out. Then who knows, maybe we won't have to put them on. There'll be so much peace. But when the time comes, the U.S. Navy and its partners will escort tankers through the strait if needed.
So Trump is addressing a number of issues around oil. He's talking, of course, about keeping oil prices down, keeping the Straits of Hormuz clear for ships, oil tankers to go through, and so on. How do you take what he's just said?
Well, it was obviously very effective in calming the markets. With the price going back to what it was before. Markets are incredibly volatile at this point in time. So we had some analysts saying yesterday that they've never seen this kind of a volatility since 1972. But within a space of one day, they jump out from $80 to $120 per barrel. They're going back to about 90, still more than before, but it's better, of course, for the consumers.
What pushed that price back down? Do you think it was simply Trump saying, "Well, this is going to end soon"?
I think it was yes. I think it was predominantly that he was saying, "Look, I mean, we are almost done. It's not going to go indefinitely. We are almost done. You know, the end is at the horizon." And the markets don't really care about whether there will be a democracy installed in Iran, whether there will be a continuation of the current regime, or whether there will be some kind of geopolitical change. They just want calm and predictability and peace. And he was kind of like saying, you know, I'm not done yet. There are a number of things that needs to be done, but we are almost there. And then there was another argument about sanctions. So he kind of hinted on the possibility of lifting sanctions for the other producers, such as Russia, of course, because that's what it's all about, yeah? Having less restrained access to the markets. And of course, markets heard that. They knew that in reality means, you know, liberating Russian energy into the market. It means that bigger volumes are coming there.
Are going to come through. But there's been some pushback on that, hasn't there, Martin? I mean, the G7 have said that, you know, they're prepared to release some of their strategic reserves, yes. You know, to prevent that from happening. And you know, Saudi Arabia is pumping up its output. So in a couple of days, in total, through the Straits of Hormuz, we expect about 63% of the pre-war volumes of oil going through. So there is a balancing act there from other countries. On top of that, Merz is saying that sanctions should not be reduced, that, you know, Germany doesn't believe in that's the right thing to do. So how is this kind of dynamic, in your opinion, going to play out?
Well, I think it is very worrying for Europe. I mean, for a number of reasons. I mean, number one, I mean, you are right by saying that, you know, that, that number of measures have been taken, predominantly G7 effectively saying we are not there yet, but if push comes to shove, we'll release strategic reserve. Of course, they are there for 3 months, yeah? That's how much the reserve are usually in the stock. So that means once you start releasing them, the market will know that there is some kind of an end date. So they haven't done it. They just said, we are prepared to do that. But together with Trump saying we are coming to the end, I think this had a calming influence with market, seeing that the leaders understand that something needs to be done. Yeah?
Right.
So that was important. But of course, for Europe, to hear that easing sanctions on Russia under the current circumstances means that Trump would be pressing on even further on Ukraine to reach an agreement and to have peace without due consideration for what kind of peace, yeah? So it's, I don't think that everybody knows that for Trump it's not so much about the just peace, but it's about any kind of peace to finish it off so he can deliver to the voters a good message that I ended another war. And that also he can also say, by the way, because I reached this peace, the energy prices are going down.
Right. I do want to get into that in a bit more detail. But before we do, Iran, is also exports its oils, despite the sanctions. Exports its oils through the Straits of Hormuz. So it's shooting itself in the foot a little bit, isn't it? If it blocks its own tankers or makes it more difficult for its own tankers to go through, let alone tankers from other countries. Yeah,
but I think that at this point in time, the 10th day of the war, with much of the Iranian leadership being effectively wiped out, they're fighting for survival. So they are not really, at this point in time, I don't think that they so much bother about how much revenue we're going to get to continue going. They're in panic mode, really. They are overreacting, and they're doing whatever they can to hurt the environment. I don't want to say the enemy, because in fact they're not shooting the United States, they're trying to shoot Israel, but they keep shooting all around to all the possible neighbors they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I think you're right. They're trying to survive day by day rather than make strategic decisions. Now, let's go to Russia, because a lot of people are saying, well, as you said, if oil prices are high, then clearly that benefits Russia. And that is, Russia's position is enhanced, of course, by Trump saying, well, we're going to release some of the punishments for tariffs on sanction busters like India. And then Trump and Putin had a conversation where Putin said this is bad for global oil prices. What's that all about?
Well, I think that effectively he's trying to prepare the public for him easing sanctions on Russia.
That's Trump, yeah?
That's Trump, yeah. That's what Trump is trying to do. And of course, Putin saying that energy markets are unstable because of sanctions, because of war, and something should be done about it. He's trying to show sympathy and trying to say that, there are easy ways of solving this issue. Just ease sanctions, our oil would flow, prices would go down. I'm with you. I understand you. I sympathize with you.
I see. So Putin is actually worried about the common good at the moment, it seems, putting oil prices down, releasing oil into the marketplace so that the world can benefit. Now, of course, this is also having an impact on food supply because the cost of getting food.
Really.
Yeah. How is that? I mean, how long will it be, in your opinion, before this hike in oil prices is going to filter through to inflation in food, inflation in the supermarket?
It can be very long. Yeah, I mean it's the 10th day of the war. The Strait of Hormuz is blocked. About, if I'm not mistaken, about 20% of the global oil supply is going through there. But as you just mentioned, it's also the fertilizers, it's the metals, it's many other things. So it's a strategic choke point. And during the COVID crisis, when we had the Suez Canal being blocked, we felt the consequences of that in terms of prices, supply, and then inflation for many, many months. So it didn't kick in immediately, but I think we will come to feel the effects of happening in the Hormuz right now. Right now, we will come to feel the effect of that.
So knock-on effect later on.
Later on, right. And it wouldn't be only on energy prices, but of course, energy is. I mean, the entire industry is running on it, so it's going into the, all prices are going to be reflecting it.
Yes, I'm sure that's true. I'd like to move on now to evacuations from the Middle East, because that's clearly quite a sensitive area. Many countries are trying to get their people out of these danger spots, and our very own editor-in-chief, Michał Broniatowski, has just arrived back in Warsaw today from Dubai, and I think we've got him online. Let's say hello. We wanted to say hello and welcome back and ask you how the trip was and to tell us about your challenges in getting back from Dubai.
It was the seventh attempt to leave the place and finally successful. I have to mention that it cost me enormous amount of money because we had to buy business tickets, of course, at much higher rates than usual. So because the Emirates airlines have to make up for huge losses they are suffering. This is, one of the main victims of this war are airlines, and especially Dubai Airlines, Emirates, are victim. The largest airline in the world, which was grounded for several days, and now the traffic is very erratic. When we were leaving this morning, suddenly the air was closed for 2 hours, and we were waiting on the tarmac before we could leave. So it's the everyday situation. They full lotteries. As I said, we were booked on 6 consecutive flights, which were simply cancelled. One of the reasons was that these planes couldn't come to Dubai airport. So it's good that international governments, other governments are organizing some support for stranded tourists. But we are talking about dozens of thousands of people. So it won't be easy and quick. But, well, sooner or later it will happen. One has to add one thing, definitely. Almost 100% of these people were not hurt, were not even in danger of being hurt. It's just the hardship of being in uncertain situation, but otherwise, no problem. Nice weather.
Well, it's good to hear that things are getting back to normal, although they're still quite unpredictable, Michał. But are the skies pretty much open these days now, or certainly at the moment?
Well, the skies are in general opened, but there are alarms from time to time, like, for example, last evening and this morning, which delayed my plane. But in general, it all works. The additional issue here is that whenever there is something reported, immediately there is a flood of fake AI-generated films, like huge explosion in Dubai airport, which was not the case, but looked very nice in this little film created by artificial intelligence. Well, calling it intelligence in this context is too much, really. Anyway, this war shows all the problems of today media environment, because media are, all these fakes and modern technology are creating additional level of anxiety.
And misinformation.
So one thing, for example, Dubai is it's not emptied, but it's very, very quiet city with few people on the streets, and it's only after 5 or 6 registered attacks by drones and successful attacks by drones. Can you imagine for a city of 4 million people, so few attacks? This is a typical action of terrorists. So few people, few attacks could change the life of this place. Not to mention that it also affected economy of this place.
Michał, in the last minute or so that we have left, just a very quick one, please. Surprisingly, there are people still going, Poles still going to the Middle East, including Dubai, on holiday, and Foreign Minister Sikorski is saying that maybe the government should make them pay for their own trips back if they, if the skies are closed for the time that they're booked to come back.
Well,
do you agree?
Yes, he's absolutely right. They also should pay for their own coffins if they have to come inside them, because in the end this is a war zone and completely mad enemy on the other end side of the Gulf. So really, going there now, for some, forgetting about the situation is really, really irresponsible. Especially if people go with their children. This is something absolutely outrageous, and definitely these people, if something happens, they shouldn't be taken care of by the government.
I understood. Unfortunately, we're going to have to end it there, Michał. Thank you very much for sharing that, and again, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Marcin, just very, very quickly, in the last few seconds that we have left, how much of an impact do you think this is all going to have on the focus on the Russian invasion of Ukraine?
Well, it's a distractor, that's for sure. The global attention is somewhere else. As we just discussed prior to that last feature, suddenly Vladimir Putin saying, actually, there is an easy solution to that. Let's just ease sanction, and I'm with you, I understand you. And also Donald Trump saying, well, maybe we would need to lift some sanctions. That suggests that that Russia is getting more positive attention, and that Ukraine becomes is seen often as an obstacle to a reasonable deal.
Right, which is unfortunate. I mean, the peace talks have been postponed at the behest of President Trump as well. Well, let's see what happens, and we'd love to have you back very shortly for your analysis as things develop. Thank you again, Marcin.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of this episode of News in Depth. Don't go away, lots more coming up. Goodbye.